Welcome to this introductory webinar for the Choose Health, Food, Fun, and Fitness curriculum, which focuses on healthy eating and active living for 8 to 12-year-olds. The curriculum was developed jointly by Cornell's Division of Nutritional Sciences and Cornell Cooperative Extension's 4-H Youth Development Program, along with nutrition and 4-H educators, local nutrition and 4-H educators from the Youth Healthy Eating and Active Living, or HEAL, program work team. We'll start by hearing from Dr. Jamie Dolohite, Cornell Professor of Nutritional Sciences and Director of Food and Nutrition Education in Communities, and Dr. Valerie Adams-Bass, New York State 4-H Program Leader.
Welcome. I'm Jamie Dolohite, Professor of Nutritional Sciences at Cornell and Director of Food and Nutrition Education in Communities programs. I'm pleased to welcome you to this introductory webinar on our newly developed curriculum, Choose Health, Food, Fun, and Fitness, which we call CHIF for short. CHIF is an innovative way to address the underlying behaviors that lead to childhood obesity and chronic disease, which are serious, expensive public health problems that are in fact preventable. This well-designed, research-based curriculum engages youth in hands-on activities that encourage healthy eating and active play. The curriculum is the result of a collaboration between Cornell's nutrition and 4-H youth development programs. I want to emphasize 4 important characteristics of this exciting curriculum. First, CHIF was developed to target the most important behaviors for preventing childhood obesity and chronic disease. These include behaviors such as decreasing sweetened drinks and increasing vegetables and fruits, which aligns with the most recent research-based guidance from USDA, including the 2010 Dietary Guidelines for Americans and MyPlate. Second, the curriculum was extensively pilot tested by nutrition and 4-H educators in the field, and their excellent feedback and suggestions were incorporated into all aspects of the revisions. Third, every session includes kid-tested recipes that are fun to make and are also healthy. All recipes include nutrition facts labels and meet the rigorous nutrition requirements that we use in all our nutrition programming. Finally, the engaging activities bring nutrition messages to life using experiential learning. The active games are fun and give kids new ideas for ways to be active at home and in other settings. CHIF was developed by Dr. Wendy Wolf, Research Associate in the Division of Nutritional Sciences, and Youth Development Expert Sally Crozier, with substantial input from local 4-H and nutrition educators on the Cornell Cooperative Extension Youth Healthy Lifestyles Program Work Team. I hope you will adopt Choose Health in your youth programming. It's an excellent example of collaboration and teamwork between campus and counties and between nutrition and 4-H youth development educators here in Cornell Cooperative Extension.
Hello, my name is Valerie Adams. I'm the New York State 4-H Program Leader for Cornell Cooperative Extension, and I'm pleased to welcome you and that you're joining us for the Choose Health, Food, Fun, and Fitness curriculum training today. The curriculum is a strong resource that addresses our national 4-H mandate of healthy living. It has been used to train our CHAT or our Choose Health Action teams. Now we are expanding programming to teach more 4-Hers and other youth across the state through a train-the-trainer approach. Wendy Wolf, Sally Crozier, and the HEAL PWT members are bringing you a piloted and research-based tool that combines some of the best of cooperative extension, namely 4-H youth development and nutrition. I applaud 4-H educators and our nutritionists for working together to make this program a reality. It's another part of the Choose Health theme that we use to promote healthy eating and active living, a part of the PWT HEAL. CHIF meets the 4-H reporting requirements of at least 6 hours of content and promises to be a vital resource for 4-H clubs, after-school programs, and other 4-H delivery methods. I encourage you to include CHIF in your 4-H program plans. It's a fine example of a campus-county partnership that exemplifies how 4-H connects kids to Cornell. Enjoy the webinar. We hope you learn from it.
Welcome again. I am Wendy Wolf, Research Associate in Cornell's Division of Nutritional Sciences, and I and my colleague Sally Crozier will lead you through this webinar. Sally is a youth development consultant and former county 4-H educator who helped develop CHIF. We'll start with a brief background on development of CHIF and then give you a tour of the curriculum, and then we'll hear from some local educators about their experience using CHIF. We developed the CHIF curriculum for several reasons. With the increasing rates of childhood obesity and adult chronic disease, we needed a curriculum specifically focused on behaviors most important to address these issues. We also needed something that was fun and interactive and that was easy to teach both by experienced educators but also by inexperienced teachers such as the teens in our Choose Health Action Teens or CHAT initiative, where teens are trained to help teach nutrition to younger youth. We started by identifying the key behaviors that research shows are most important for preventing childhood obesity and chronic diseases like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, and we built the CHIF curriculum around those. These are: drink water and low-fat milk instead of sweetened drinks, eat more vegetables and fruits, eat more nutrient-rich and high-fiber foods and fewer high-fat and high-sugar foods, eat only as much as needed to satisfy hunger, play actively 60 minutes a day, limit screen time, and finally promote healthy behaviors. Let's just briefly review why each of these behaviors is important. As you probably know, sweetened drinks have lots of calories but are low in nutrients, and more importantly, they are directly associated with obesity and chronic disease. Vegetables and fruits, on the other hand, are high in nutrients and fiber. They're low in calories, and they help prevent cancer and other chronic diseases. As I'm sure you know, high-fat, high-sugar foods are also associated with increased risk of chronic diseases with their high-calorie, low-nutrient content, whereas nutrient-rich, high-fiber foods such as whole grains give you more of what your body needs and help prevent chronic disease. Helping to stay in touch with true feelings of hunger and satiety or fullness and help you avoid overeating even when portions are large. So we touch on this indirectly in various ways. We don't talk about it directly. Being active, of course, helps you keep fit, as you probably know. It also helps to maintain a healthy weight and again prevents obesity and chronic disease. Screen time not only takes away time for active play, but it also exposes kids to food ads, which may increase their desire for the unhealthy foods that are often in those food ads. It also can lead to mindless overeating when you're distracted by screen time and not feeling whether you're actually full. It can lead toward overeating. And finally, we know role models are really important to help shift the behavior norms toward healthier ones and make it easier to choose healthy. Sally?
So here's how CHIF addresses each of these behavioral goals. Lessons 1 and 2 fit very directly to the first two of behavior goals. And in the eating fewer high-fat and high-sugar foods and more nutrient-rich high-fiber foods, that shows up in 3 lessons. The lesson on sweetened drinks, lesson 1, lesson 4 about whole grains, and lesson 5 about eating healthier foods fast, and not some of the fast foods that we would normally be high-fat and high-sugar foods. We don't address eating as much, only as much as needed to satisfy hunger directly, but we do address portion size in lesson 1 and in lesson 5 about healthier fast foods. Again, we don't have a lesson specifically about moving actively for 60 minutes a day, but we included 4 active games in each lesson, and that's because talking about being active isn't all that much fun, and it isn't all that learning kind of behavior. So we really wanted to offer kids some alternatives with these 4 active games and to get them moving and having fun. We also don't directly talk about screen time except in Lesson 6 Family Newsletter, which addresses breakfast and the importance of breakfast, and that screen time often interferes with sleep, so that that may be a related factor there. And then, of course, the healthy behaviors are promoted and role modeled by the facilitators of the CHIF curriculum.
Thanks, Sally. Before we give you a tour of the curriculum itself, I want to make a couple of important points. First is that even though childhood obesity is a big concern and is part of the reason for this curriculum, we purposely do not talk about obesity or ideal body weight or calorie counting directly in the curriculum, because these are sensitive issues, and talking about weight and these other things can lead to unhealthy dieting and to eating disorders, which are also on the rise these days. Also, we know that being active and eating healthfully is more important than just what you weigh. I like the definition that a healthy weight is the weight you have when you have a healthy lifestyle. It's the unhealthy behaviors that cause chronic disease, not just being overweight. So we focus on the positive, healthy eating and active play. Second, we encourage you not to focus just on kids who are already overweight, but to target these healthy living messages to all kids. Kids with weight problems are just the tip of the iceberg, if you will. Most kids are not as active and do not eat as healthy as recommended, so CHIF is for use with all kids. Third, while CHIF focuses on direct education with kids, we know that often education is not enough. We also need to change food and activity environments to make it easier to eat healthy and be active by offering healthy options, limiting unhealthy ones, role modeling, making sidewalks, whatever it might be. We won't talk about this more here, but the importance of changing the environment is increasingly recognized. So we wanted to mention that we have a tool to help after-school programs assess how they're doing in terms of providing healthy choices. It's called the Cornell Healthy After-School Environment Self-Assessment Tool, or CHASE, and it's available on our website. We encourage you to use this tool if you're working with after-school programs. And we actually also have one for 4-H camp. So now we'd like to introduce you to the curriculum itself, Choose Health, Food, Fun, and Fitness, and give you a quick tour of it. So CHIF is research-based in that it focuses on those behaviors that research shows to be most important to change. It includes 6 lessons designed with built-in fun and a family newsletter. The lessons are experiential with hands-on interactive nutrition activities, food preparation, active games, and a goal-setting challenge in each lesson. The lessons are written in something called the 4A dialogue approach to structure them in a way that keeps them engaging and interactive, which Sally will tell you more about now.
With the 4A approach, you can see that there are 4 major parts in each level of the lessons. And this comes from an experiential learning approach described in Joy Norris's book, From Telling to Teaching. Here's how it works. The anchor connects and grabs kids' interest. The ad gives them enough new information that they can do something with, but not a whole lot. It's very short. The apply gets kids learning by doing, and the away encourages them to use what they've just learned. The process is quite similar to how it works in the 4-H experiential learning model. It just uses different language to describe each step. There are 6 lessons, as you see here, all connected to the health behaviors that we just described. And here's where you can find the whole curriculum lesson by lesson. So Wendy, if you would advance the slide. So you can see that lesson 1 is drink low-fat milk and water instead of sweetened drinks. Lesson 2, to eat a rainbow, healthy, eat more vegetables and fruits. To read it before you eat it. Lesson 3, the nutrition facts label. Lesson 4 is about whole grains. Lesson 5 is about healthier foods, and looks like off your screen perhaps, or perhaps off mine, is lesson 6 about eating breakfast. And this is all at the website fnec.cornell.edu, And you'll find CHIF listed under this website's link to our initiatives at the top of your screen. It's part of the CHIF page, the curriculum lessons, and we'll show you the rest of the curriculum pieces that support the lessons before we're done. Note that the printing instructions are also here so you can create your own CHIF binder. Now let's give you a quick tour so you can get a taste of the curriculum and how it's set up. So we'll begin where every lesson starts, with a lesson at a glance. Now, we use the left side as a cue card and the box at the right as a quick reminder of the lesson activities and the materials that you'll need. The cue card lists the 4 A's: anchor, add, apply, and away, and the other parts of the lesson and each one has the time that each one should take. The lessons are intended to be sequential, so you'll see at the beginning there's a bridge from the previous lesson, and then towards the end you'll see the bridge to the next lesson to help the children make the connections between the lessons. And note that the add is also very, very short. It's the new information. We were really careful to include only the most important information that the 8 to 12-year-olds we thought could take in. So we ask that you stick to what's written and not add extra information that may just confuse them or take more time. The next page in each lesson has all the materials and the supplies details for that lesson. It includes the handouts that you might use, visual aids, posters, food prep supplies and ingredients, and the supplies you'll need to play the games in the lesson. There's also a master supply list for all the lessons on the website, and we'll show you that in a moment. In fact, here is the next piece of the page that shows all of the curriculum pages. It's a little bit further down on the CHIF website page. So you'll see the files for the appendices that support the lessons. There's a recipe appendix, a game appendix, posters appendix, and handouts, as well as visual aids. And those just happen to be really large files, so they ended up being split into several different files. You'll note that the printing instructions get a bit more complex, especially for the visual aids and the posters and the game cards, those kinds of things. We want you to be able to use those over and over again, so we wanted to help you know how to print them and save them and laminate them so that you would be able to have that option. And then still further down on the page, you'll see that there are some scanned food packages, so you don't have to figure out which packages will do the best teaching. And you'll see the CHIF teaching kit instructions. If you can use this to put all your supplies together in a grab and go kit, then that will make things easier for you, especially as you teach the lessons and the curriculum more than once. First time you do it, it'll probably take you a bit of time to collect all that stuff, but as you use it again and again, it will save time for you. So back to from the website to the lessons, the third page of each lesson is a one-page summary of the research-backed nutrition information for this lesson's topic. Now, we know it's more comfortable to teach when you know more about what you're teaching than your audience does, or that even you intend to teach them. And that's the purpose of this background page, to help fill you in. It's information for the facilitators so you know more than you'll teach to the 8 to 12-year-olds, and you can feel confident and comfortable with what you're teaching. But the most important of these nutrition messages, the ones that are most relevant to children, are already built into the lessons. And then for each lesson, we also tried to share what we've learned about what the educators have told us about what are the special challenges of teaching a particular lesson. So you might think of this as tips to help you anticipate and to plan how to really engage kids in the learning process, and also to encourage them to behave well while you're teaching. Active play is one of the key health behaviors that CHIF was built around, but we opted to build it in for fun and to get kids moving rather than to have a lesson that just talks about being active. So each lesson has 4 games, 2 at the start and 2 at the close of the lesson. These games were picked because they are active. And one goal is to offer kids new and fun ways that they can be active, and another is to get them moving, to model the active behavior we really want to see. We gave you a lot of information here and also in the curriculum introduction about how to lead games well. But information is no shortcut for experience. The more you play and or practice these games before you try to lead them with kids, the more successful you'll be. But please do remember that if you get kids moving and they're having fun, that's way more important than if they follow every rule of the game.
Thanks, Sally. In the lesson itself, you'll see color-coded bars across the page that show you where you are in the lesson, including the 4 A's. Here you see the opening active games, a bridge asking kids what they remember from the previous lesson and what they tried, and the anchor. Boxes, the pale green boxes on the right, show what to do, while bullets show what to say. So the lessons are actually scripted to make the intended messages short and very clear, and to make these lessons easy for inexperienced facilitators such as teens to lead. It just really clarifies that message to see it as you might say it, but we encourage you to use your own words to actually deliver the lesson. And here's another page of the lesson. You can see the away, which we've designed in each lesson to be a goal-setting activity, since research shows that setting goals can help encourage behavior change. Suggested goals for each lesson are provided on a poster, and these goals and the space to write your own goal if you prefer are included in the family newsletter. So the kids can fill that out while they're in the class, and then the newsletter goes home. Also on this page, you can see the bridge to the next lesson, the closing active game, and the food preparation. So speaking of food preparation, each lesson includes 2 options for preparing a kid-friendly, healthy snack. One that requires electricity and one that does not, because we know some settings are not easy to cook in. So we ask that you do one of the 2 recipes each time. All recipes include a vegetable or a fruit, and they all conform to Cornell Nutrition Program standards, for which you can see here, including vegetable and fruit, having minimal added sugars, having low fat, and percent calories from fat being low, but also any dairy products being low fat or reduced fat. Each take-home lesson, as I mentioned, has a family newsletter that very briefly describes the nutrition topic. It includes both recipes, one of which their child will have prepared, and includes some fun physical activity suggestions that they might try at home. It also includes a place for the child to check off or write the goal that they set in the lesson. So this way the family members can see what their child's goal for the week is and can help support them and perhaps even join the child in taking a healthy step. We have purposely kept handouts to a minimum, instead focusing on interactive hands-on activities. But we do have a few handouts like this one. These are in a separate appendix, so you can make copies easily, and they're also included in the lesson itself. We've tried to make the lessons easy to teach, but still very interactive by including most of the visual aids that you will need as a facilitator. So instead of creating your own, you just can copy and laminate them to use over and over again. Several of the lessons use food packages to teach label reading. While real food packages are more engaging, it can be challenging to gather enough of the appropriate items for the different lessons. So to make CHIF easier to use, we developed sets of scanned food package labels that can be printed in color for the kids to use. You put them in plastic sleeves or laminate them. So as you saw earlier, all of these are on our website along with the other visual aids, fnec.cornell.edu, ready for you to print. The main visual aids that you will still need to gather to add yourselves are a set of Dairy Council food model cards. Those are those food cards that have a photo of various foods on one side and the nutrition label on the back, and also various drink containers, sweetened drinks and other drinks, for the first lesson on sweetened drinks and label reading. But most of all the other visuals are included for you. Sally mentioned that you might want to make your own teaching kit, and to make these lessons easier to teach, the local educators on our program work team, HEAL, Healthy Eating and Active Living for Youth, they helped us create teaching kits for CHIF. And you can build your own grab-and-go kits using the instructions, which again are on the website. And these include all the visuals, either laminated or in plastic sleeves, the posters, and so on, plus items like measuring spoons, plates, markers, and game supplies, all detailed for you for each lesson. You can put them in reusable bags and the flat items in a art portfolio or something like that. The instructions also specify other items that you'll need to collect for each teaching event. So we encourage you to make a grab-and-go kit for yourself. Also, the goal of this webinar was just to give you an introduction and some background to the Choose Health curriculum, but we highly recommend additional training to really prepare you to actually teach the lessons. So to help facilitate this, we've developed a training guide written in the 4A format and scripted, which is also available to download from our website. It includes a review of facilitation skills and a review of nutrition, as well as teach facts of the various lessons. Since we really feel that reviewing both nutrition content and how to work with youth are both important for success in teaching CHIF, the ideal training would involve would be co-facilitated by nutrition and 4-H educators working together, ideally at least one of whom has experience with CHIF, but then they can support the nutrition review and the how to work with youth component by working together on that. Here in New York State, volunteer educators have had great success in offering regional training. So you can contact your local Cornell Cooperative Extension office to find out about current training opportunities and other support here in New York. So because, as I mentioned, that understanding the nutrition content is so important for being ready to teach the lessons, and as Sally mentioned with those nutrition background pages, we've tried to make it fun and easy way to do it in the training that you do, or if you train yourself, by using these nutrition flashcards to make it more fun to review the relevant nutrition information for each lesson. So after you read the background page that's in each lesson, as you see here, then you can use the questions and answers on these flashcards to make sure that you feel confident before you teach and prepared for questions. The relevant information for children is written into each lesson, but the flashcards are available to download, and as I said, the flashcards are available to download from the training page on our website. Development of a CHIF evaluation tool is underway, but currently there is no specific tool available. Many positive anecdotes have been reported, like tasting and liking new vegetable dishes that they help to cook, or trying recipes at home with their parents, being surprised at the fat content of fast food items or the amount of sugar in various drinks. So we hope to capture these kind of impacts in the future. In the meantime, local success stories can help get support for programming from your decision makers.
Hi, I'm Jessica Spence. I'm a team coordinator for 4-H and nutrition in Yates County. And before you start using CHIF, there are a few logistical things you'll want to consider. First is materials. As you look through the curriculum, you'll notice that there are many tools you'll need for the lessons. We highly recommend creating a toolkit so your lessons are grab and go, as was discussed earlier. We spend a lot of time preparing instructions to create a toolkit, and those instructions can be found on the website. You'll need training time. This was also discussed. You can learn the curriculum yourself or participate in a 2-day training, if available, through your local cooperative extension. You may also find local cooperative extension staff who have experience using CHIF and can be a resource to you as you're learning the curriculum. As you begin to make connections in your community, we have a few tips for getting CHIF off the ground. First, you already have established connections and networks. Use them. This curriculum is geared toward 3rd through 5th grades. So who do you know that's already working with this age group? After-school programs, summer rec sites, camps, in-school, organizations like the Red Cross or other organizations that you and your peers are connecting with that are already working with this specific age group. Then you'll need to secure locations to hold your classes. Some things to consider include kitchen facilities and tools, space to play games, both indoors and outdoors. Some games can be done with minimal space and some need larger spaces. Additional hands are helpful for classroom management, safety, and keeping everyone on track. These people don't need to be trained in using the curriculum because they'll be working with you, but it's always nice to have extra hands. Another consideration is food for the lessons. Where are you going to get the money for that? Are you paying, or are you buying it and being reimbursed by a program? There may be some prep required too. Who's doing that? Food is a definite consideration and needs to be thought through. You may want to consider creating an agreement with an organization you're working with to provide the lessons. Setting up these agreements ahead of time will help you hash out some of these details. When you're ready to teach the curriculum and you've set up your locations, you'll need prep and teaching time. You'll want to check your toolkit to be sure everything you need is in the lesson. Sometimes things walk off. You want to take a few minutes to review the lesson you're teaching. Although the lessons are scripted, you'll want to be familiar with the content so you aren't reading off the page, but that you're using the script as a guide to keep you on track so the lesson flows more naturally. We recommend 1 hour of teaching time per lesson. However, if you have more or less time, you can accommodate the lesson for the amount of time provided. So those are some of the basic considerations to get you started. But you'll find lots of the information that you need to successfully use the curriculum is right in the curriculum.
Thank you, Jess. Debbie, you're up next.
Okay, hello. My name is Debbie Seguin, and I am an issue leader in Madison County working with both nutrition and 4-H programs. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what you need to do to get ready to teach CHIF. We've talked a little bit about the training, and ideally you would attend a training that definitely improves the quality of the teaching and also helps you to maintain sanity, because there's a lot to balance with this curriculum between the games and the food experiences and food labels and activity kits, and so it helps to make it easier on you as the person leading the project. But also, you may need to get creative. If you can't attend a training, you may need to get creative in trying things out, maybe with coworkers or family members. Of course, they love this, right? But just trying to get a little bit of hands-on practice with the material. It's important to experience every lesson, especially the activities, to understand how they work and to really understand the core nutrition information behind the lessons. It seems simple, but I know we spend a lot of time trying to distill things down and make sure the correct messages are being shared. And also, young people aren't always the most patient while you're trying to figure out an activity if you really haven't got it down right. So if you lose a group, that can be pretty hard to pull back together. So also playing the games and trying the activities. And I can't reinforce that enough because it takes some of the guesswork out of the planning, and you're trying to fit the games and the food experiences maybe to a specific audience or a different facility, and you really got to know what you're working with in order to make sure that it's going to fit in your time frame and in what you have available. And then, of course, there's practice with the 4A model. It may be new to some people. It's a very effective way to teach, but it does take some practice to get comfortable with it. And as educators, we tend to love the ad piece where we can share lots of information, but we know we need to really keep it short and focused for the youth audience. So these are just some things to keep in mind as you get ready to teach CHIF. And again, it's easier to do some of this in a group setting in a training than it is to do it by yourself. So thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Rachel?
Development Resource Educator in Seneca County. And I just like to talk a little bit about why we really believe that the CHIF training is absolutely invaluable. It's so very important because of many of the things that Debbie just mentioned to you. Obviously, having experience with the lessons, being familiar with the recipes, and knowing how to play the games, as Sally mentioned, practicing over and over again, is going to help you increase your confidence in your ability to deliver the lessons and really reach the youth just as we had hoped that you would. And additionally, just because you've had the opportunity to really spend a lot of the time with the curriculum and all the additional resources, including all the appendices, you're going to decrease the amount of time that you would have normally needed to prepare yourself, as well as the fact that you would have, involved in the training, you would have hopefully received a teaching kit, would have all your resources ready to go. You'll also learn by working with others, providing each other with feedback, doing teach-backs. You'll really learn by sharing. You can learn so much from each other. Just as we have the opportunity to share suggestions about what works best with working with different audiences, that can be very handy. And lastly, practice always improves teaching quality. That's been mentioned a couple of times, practice, 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 and repetition, how very important that is and what a difference that makes in our ability to deliver the lessons to the best of our ability and to really make a difference in these youth lives. We've mentioned it a couple of times. The other thing that's also important is having the opportunity to really get a handle on what is involved in this curriculum, specifically the ad, which is very specific for appropriateness for the age level. So it's really important that you have the opportunity to practice this in training and that you don't really add any extra information to this, and you just stick with what's most appropriate for this audience.
Great. And Rachel, you'll tell us a little bit more about where you can use it.
Definitely. So we've had an opportunity to use CHIF with a number of different types of audiences in different environments. It's really invaluable to use your networks, your connections, as Jessica mentioned in hers, to think about where are some great places and opportunities to deliver this curriculum. So one of the opportunities is definitely in school classrooms. And you can actually access teachers, share this curriculum with them. It actually interfaces really nice with the core curriculum that they're trying to deliver in, specifically we found in 5th grade, but there may be other, either the 3rd, 4th, or 5th grade classrooms that may be handy for you to be able to deliver it. Also, other opportunities are summer recreation programs or summer day camps, and we found that those are also great places to deliver the curriculum. It's a nice opportunity to be able to get that hour or more time of teaching and actually be able to use and actually deliver all 6 lessons. The day camps and the summer recreation programs have been very pleased with that. So in Seneca County, we taught CHIF to 5th grade classes in the Seneca Falls School District. This is actually our 3rd year. The school has been able to give us 45 minutes per class, so we've included all the lesson content as written, just as we described, to remain, to keep with the fidelity of the curriculum. But we provided the food as a tasting rather than including food preparation. And in some cases, more so probably because of space, we were only able to include 2 games rather than all 4. We feel as though we had a great success with this, especially because we were able to teach all 6 lessons to 5 5th grade classes. And that's been between January and June of each year. We've had excellent feedback from the students and teachers alike, and they ask us to come back every year. We're hoping to expand to some other schools in this coming year.
Thank you, Rachel. Debbie, tell us about what happens in Madison County.
Well, we have worked with the CHA, as you mentioned, the Choose Health Action Teens, and I really love this model of programming. The teens are, fun to work with, and I think they can be very effective teachers of younger students. So we've been working with this for a couple of years now. Last summer, we trained a team of 5 teens, and they taught in a couple of different settings. A primary one was a summer camp, as Rachel mentioned, but we found that this model works well because the younger kids really respond well to teens as teachers. They look up to them as role models and just really get engaged working with them. It also gets teens involved in programming in a meaningful way. They have responsibility, real responsibility. They're not just helpers, they're the actual teachers and really take on the teaching role, giving them some real skills for their future and really building their confidence and their resumes. So it's really a leadership teen development program. And we have been able to provide some really incredible leadership experiences here with some of the teens that have been working with us. We had the good fortune of having a teen work with us for several years, and she was actually able to go to Washington and be a part of a training team for this curriculum. And you'll see in that one picture that's up there, we had some teens go to Albany and share with legislators about this programming that Extension is doing in this area. And they love to see young people, contributing to their communities in positive and meaningful ways. So having teens share at board meetings or wherever, you can talk about the good work that you're doing in the 4-H and nutrition programs. I think the teens are great ambassadors for this work that we're doing in healthy eating and child obesity prevention. And also, of course, the teens become more knowledgeable about nutrition and change their own habits as well. So we had one story about a young man who was one of our teen leaders, and once he learned about the amount of sugar in the soda that he was drinking, which he was drinking several a day, he made a real commitment to cut that out and lost about 10 pounds and was really able to condition for his sports season coming up, and he was very excited about that. So just learning about that may be one simple behavior. So I would strongly encourage folks to consider using the chat model. It does take, some extra time and effort, but really well worth it. And there's some great materials that are available, a facilitator guide to actually help you train the teens and help support the teens in an ongoing way. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. And again, now all that is on fnec.cornell.edu. And Jessica, how about you? Where have you used CHIF?
Well, we used CHIF during the pilot phase in a special needs audience. It was called Kids Adventure Time. It's a camp run here in Yates County through Catholic Charities with funding from our mental health organizations. And the kids are referrals from local agencies, and the kids are dealing with social and emotional disabilities. So they are a group of kids who have high energy and really enjoyed the active games and loved using their hands for the food prep. Now this camp is run 3 days a week for 5 weeks in the summer, and we participated 1 day a week for an hour and 15 minutes each week. So we were able to really incorporate a lot of the content of each lesson into this group. And we found that we needed to up the age group just a little bit, so we worked with 4th to 6th graders, mostly 4th and 5th graders, just a couple of 6th graders sprinkled in. We had about 20 kids. We went higher on the age group just because of their disabilities. And at the end of the summer, nutrition was one of the most requested programs, and specifically CHIF. They enjoyed the physical activity, they enjoyed the hands-on food prep, and they just really enjoyed learning and being exposed to new things. The program actually paid for the food, which was great, and the location was a church with a full kitchen. They had a pretty big inside room, but lots of outdoor space for the games. So it ended up working out really well. We did find we needed lots of extra hands, and luckily they work with the Workforce Development Summer TANF program, so they hire teens through Workforce Development, and those teens, actually many of them had gone through the Kids Adventure Time camp themselves, and they were wonderful at providing those extra hands needed. So great opportunity for the special needs group to be active, to get involved, to be interested, and really to build on some of the curiosity they have around food and nutrition.
Thank you, Jess.
Yes. So thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Rachel. And thank you, Debbie. And thank you, the viewer, for your interest in CHIF and for viewing this webinar. We wish you luck in conducting CHIF in your community, and please do keep in touch. We would love to hear about your successes, and we can try to answer any questions that you have. Thanks.